Hello and welcome to Talking Skritt, the Guild Wars 2 podcast about everything that happens in and around Tyria. I'm your host, Deo, better known as... Actually, John, better known as Deo, around Yaxpen. And we have a fantastic show for you today. WvW Changes, Lion's Arch changes, mail carrier distribution changes, and ArenaNet changes their mind about E3. But today, my fellow hosts are going to help me figure that out. And to introduce to you to them, he is moderator over at MO Champion and constantly has to school people there with the School of Life. Say hello to Jim.
Okay, I have to go click on that link in the show notes because I haven't heard of that one. Hi, everybody. What the hell is this?
If no one knows yet, every intro for him revolves around.
It's a Ryan Reynolds movie. This is new to me.
I know. I said the other night he has to start doing more work. But anyway, the one person I know who's excited about the mail carrier news, a writer for Guild Mag, say hello to Aaron.
I didn't even know there was mail carrier news.
Oh, there's definitely mail carrier news, especially for you.
Well, shit.
But let's get right into it. All right. I think I don't know. Do you want to call this the big announcement? The WvW Changes that are coming for HoT. It's basically, they're detailing it more. It's basically about upgrades. And the reason I say this is probably their specialty week, of the week one, was it was involving the same time frame as they did for the specializations. But like I said in the title or in the intro, there are loads of stuff this week. I think all this stuff together surmounted to I think big news. But yeah, WvW Changes. Basically, the upgrade system, I think before, and I'm going to have to rely on both of you because I'm not a big WvWorlder. Before, it was basically spending supplies and gold, correct?
Yeah, and it's pretty much everyone ever since the beginning of the game has been like, why is gold a thing in this system? Because it's stupid.
Yeah. That never really struck me as... that kind of is like, hey, yeah, don't upgrade your stuff because it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, it's very silly. So I'm glad.
And what is it? The supply you needed to use to upgrade came from the pool that was at the tower or camp or what have you. Mm-hmm. So, people are trying to run supply so they can go attack places and build siege, and you're like, no, don't take that. I need to upgrade the camp.
Well, and you'd have people
I was one of those people.
You'd have people throwing out upgrades on, anything but keeps. So you'd be like, oh, don't take supplies from any of the keeps, but you can take them. You can drain the towers and the camps, and that's kind of how people played. They just didn't bother with the
keeps
towers.
Are what you defended.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, everything from the WvW Changes, it feels like they're doing a big deal with trying to make it worthwhile to defend objectives. I'm kind of hoping they get rid of the rounds.
But I mean, like you guys were saying before it requires the supply. It seems like it doesn't anymore. It's just based on time of you holding that keep, correct? The new change.
Yeah, I think what it said is that upgrades will roll in steadily on a set timer, but you can speed up the timer by bringing in supply Dolyak. Each supply Dolyak will speed up the timer.
It'll reduce it by a flat amount.
Yeah.
So, and I think if you keep, if you have a steady supply of Dolyaks, every Dolyak, once you capture a keep and a camp starts sending Dolyaks in, it reduces it by, if you get every Dolyak through, it reduces it by roughly 50%.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think they were saying the figures were I think, for example, a tower, without any help was 4 hours, but regular Dolyak escorts took it down to 2 hours. And I don't know what they mean by regular, if that's every single one or... But
yeah, I would assume every single one.
Do you guys like that change? I mean, it does strengthen the idea of defending it.
Yeah, basically It just strengthens the idea of defending and upgrading your forts, and it also strengthens the idea of protecting Dolyaks, and it just makes Dolyaks a bigger deal. So that's good because right now nobody really cares about Dolyaks.
Except for killing them for that achievement.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you kill them, they're there to kill for the dailies.
Yeah. And with that, we were just talking about this before the show started. Killing sentries is going to matter too, because the sentries drop what I was saying it was a 5-minute slow, a 5-minute cripple on Dolyaks that you can't cleanse unless you pick up a med kit from an allied sentry.
Wow.
So, yeah, the sentries actually matter now. And the thing is, from what I understand, is you can't get a new Dolyak to spawn until the last one either is killed or reaches its destination. So having sentries will slow it down almost as much as killing the Dolyaks. Because, I mean, a 5-minute cripple, if you're not paying attention to your supply lines...
It could, like, if you just let that cripple go, it could actually prove more detrimental to you than just having the Dolyak killed. So,
yep.
That's the thing. Also, it gives us incentive to kill sentries, period, because right now, really all killing sentries does is alert to the enemy to where you are. So it's kind of dumb to kill sentries right now, even though we all do it anyway for the world XP. It's really counterproductive to the battlefield in general.
And the land claimer daily.
Yeah, I was to say, I think that's what I do it for. I mean, another interesting thing that I don't think was in the blog post, but they did it in their Ready Up this Friday, was waypoints, and they're supposedly going to be working similar to Edge of the Mist. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? And for people that don't know, Edge of the Mist, it works like the waypoint to like these certain areas are always going to be there. They're no longer upgrades for like keeps and whatnot. But the way it's going to work is, say if for our example, Yak's Bend, we can only use that like the closest, what is it? Ascension? Well, it depends on what it swaps to, but like Ascension Bay, we can only use that waypoint since we would be the closest technically. So if someone captures it, it just makes it contested even for them. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm not sure what you mean, because in Edge of the Mist, you can use the waypoint at a keep you've captured, even if it's another team's keep.
I don't know about Edge of the Mist, because I barely ever go in there, but making it so that it's less, like... Once you can start waypointing around the map, if you control like all of the waypoints on a given Borderlands, you have control of the map. Your entire Zerg can respond to attacks much faster. You can get back into the fight much faster if you die during a defense. You don't have to run, half the Borderland to get back. So, in general, that's helpful. However, the only issue is we're thinking about it in terms of the current Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what the layout is of the new Borderlands.
That is true.
As much.
And actually, I think I was wrong. I think you can't use the waypoints at keeps you've captured in Edge of the Mist. I'm just because Edge of the Mist, your color switches so often. I'm like, I've used the waypoints at all the keeps. It's like, but your color's always different.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the one thing they announced during the Ready Up was that it was going to work similar to Edge of the Mist, and I mean, I guess that makes it so it's harder to defend those if you're the opposing side, which I think their idea by that was people aren't going to like totally control a Borderlands as easy. I mean, do you like that change, or at least according to this model, like Jim was saying, we don't know exactly the perfect makeup of the new maps, so it might flow a lot nicer than it does with the current maps.
I hate traipsing around the border. Like, there's nothing worse than dying at the bottom of the map and having to respawn all the way back up to the top and run all the way back. So anything that combats that, yeah. Anything that combats that.
I think that's why I don't go into the mists. I really think that's why I don't go into Edge of the Mist, is because it's just so
Convoluted.
big.
Yeah.
That too, but
And
it's
you
just
get,
so
like-
massive.
Yeah. It's
But-
so huge and you can't go anywhere directly.
But I
Yeah,
mean, with
so.
this change, it is actually turning it into that. I mean,
It depends on how the new
if
map.
you're
Yeah,
the opposing
it's like-
force.
Yeah, it's like you said, it depends on the layout of the map. It's a pain in the ass in Edge of the Mist because Edge of the Mist is laid out inconveniently. Like, it's supposed to be inconvenient. We don't
Yeah.
know about the new Borderlands.
The
Like,
one
this
thing they were
system in the
showing.
current Borderlands would be super convenient because it's very
Yeah.
easily laid out.
The one thing they were showing on the new Borderlands is one of the keeps had like teleport pads. So what? I think Edge of the Mist, if you kill the champion worm, you get tunnel systems that you can teleport between different areas.
hmm
So that might be a thing on the new Borderlands.
They said there'd be
So-
stuff like that on the new. They said there'd be one of the fire areas. Things would be like lava tubes. You can
Mhm.
go places in.
Because I want to teleport through lava tubes.
Well, it's tubes of lava. Technically, you're not getting touched by the lava, so it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Just don't touch the sides.
Still sounds a little.
Well, I mean,
But-
I think in geology, a lava tube is simply a tunnel left over from burrowing magma that now doesn't have magma in it.
I want tubes made of lava.
Now some geologist in the comments is going to be like, "You're an idiot. That's not what that is at all."
Actually, no, I think you're right.
Oh, great.
I think you're right, Aaron.
I think you're both wrong.
You are.
There. That way we get
Aaron,
comments either way.
you are a science guy. You are
Yeah.
a science guy this week.
Today I am a science guy.
But then they started talking about the ability changes, and if you don't know about those, basically when you're in WvW World, as you level up, with the experience bar. Right now, I think it's the top, but I think they said in this change, it's actually replacing your experience bar once you hit 80, which is a lot nicer. But as you increase, you get points towards putting them in a wide array of, I guess, trait lines. I don't know exactly what you want to call them. But, yeah, so these ability changes, I know some people weren't big fans of them. Especially, I think it was, I might be wrong with this, because like I said, I'm not a WvW Worlder. Guard Killer and Defense Against Guards.
Let it out now, Aaron.
It's just
Just let it out
stupid.
now.
It's
Well, I
stupid
mean,
that
what-
they're taking out the applied strength and fortitude buffs from the ends of these tiers. Like you said, it's the guard defense and guard killer ones.
And if you don't know the applied fortitude and applied strength effects, at the very end you get, I think it's a stacking bonus to, like, kind of like if you have those sigils of like stat sigils on your weapons where it gives you like a stack of 25. It works similar to that, where as you kill people, but I think it only goes up to 5 stacks.
hmm
I think they increase vitality and
Vitality and toughness for defense, and then power and condition damage for guard killer.
Fortitude only gives vitality, does it? I don't think it gives.
Really?
toughness.
I thought it was
That's
vitality and
Seth.
toughness.
I'm pretty sure it's just vitality, and you
To
can
the
get,
wiki.
It's 50 stack. It's 50 points per stack, so you can get up to plus 250 with the applied fortitude buff, and then the applied strength buff gives you plus 20 power and condition damage per stack, so you can get up to plus 100 power and condition damage with that buff, which is kind of nice. It's not like amazing or anything because they're minor stat additions, but they're just fun to have.
50 vitality per stack.
yeah, but at a total
Or applied
it's
fortitude.
250 toughness
Yep,
and
5 stacks.
vitality. So,
No, just vitality.
Just vitality.
Oh, both of them? Okay.
Just vitality.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Applied strength is power and condition damage, and fortitude is just vitality.
okay.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, how do you guys feel about them removing that stat increase? And do you think?
There's no reason for them to have removed it. It's silly. Don't do it.
It might come
Well-
back. It might. Like they've also said they're not done iterating on this design, but I do like the idea that they cut the size of those two, of Guard Killer and Defense Against Guards, because they were the two longest tracks aside from supply carrying.
Yeah, they're the second longest tracks after supply, which is also getting cut in half, which I'm actually a big fan of, because I don't think like 5 extra supplies worth 300 world points. That's why I haven't spec'd into it yet, because I'm like, that's not really worth it.
But it's... I like the idea of the applied strength and applied fortitude buffs. I would like to see them come back, but I agree that it was one of those things where it's like you literally can't really put points in anything else because they were too good. They were
put points
too
in anything.
good.
You can put points in other things. Then there will be bonuses. Like if you just spec into Guard Killer and Guard Defense, you're going to be useless on Siege. You're only going to be good at killing guards, which is like...
Yeah.
Like,
But
that
also,
depends on if you're allowed to use Siege, because I've been yelled at for that before.
but if you'd spec'd into, you know, your Siege spec, you wouldn't get yelled at because you'd be the master or whatever Siege you were using.
yeah, but I mean,
that
with
would-
the
that
like
would-
increased vitality and like condition damage and stuff like that, it seems like people would want to go for that more so, because until you can truly hit someone with Siege, like truly hit them. Like, I want to hit someone with a battering ram. If they turn that corner and I set up a battering ram, I want to knock them back. I want to knock them back good.
That would be kind of cool for a battering ram to affect something more than a door.
Well,
Well,
it does
funny,
at
it
higher if they're on
it
the
will
other
not-
side.
Yeah, it will knock people back or up against the door on the other side of it at one of the tiers.
But how many
Flame
people
round
are
is
up against the door? The other side
Stupid
of the...
people.
Yeah, because everybody else behind you
Well-
is layering their AoE on the door to keep people from repairing it.
Well, it's supposed
So-
to, yeah, it's supposed to be for people while they're repairing it, but no one repairs the door while it's being knocked down.
Which,
So,
I mean, hopefully with all these changes, it might change. I mean, we'll see.
They've put in all this. They've put all this like blocking zone tech in with the at least showcase on the Revenant and the Dragon Hunter. It'd be kind of cool to see like the door preventing projectiles and AoE damage coming through, so that ability from mastering the battering ram actually mattered.
well, and the door, like the door's hitbox is already stupid because you can,
I know.
yeah, because you can put AoEs down right up against the door from one side and they'll hit people on the other side of the door. I don't think they should do that.
That's what I'm talking about. Is maybe they'll change the doors to actually function like barriers,
As a
not
barrier,
like
yeah.
a minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, because, I mean, granted, I've done that before. I just thought my magic was really powerful. I mean, thought I was really good at wielding my powers.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean,
But
with all these changes, is it deterring you guys from maybe going into World War World, or does it kind of reinvigorate? Like, would you want to? Are you excited for World War World, or is this actually making you run from World War World?
I think there are good changes that will make it a better competitive experience, except for the one I mentioned about applied strength and fortitude. That's dumb. That's the only one I don't like. The rest of them I like.
might come back. So, beta is beta and all that good stuff. And, they might get enough feedback from people that, they like the idea of getting a unique ability at the end tier of some of these World v World ability lines. But I think, all in all, this is a lot of really good change for World versus World. Because they're adding a lot more, like sending small squads to, sending 2 or 3 people to go kill sentries behind enemy lines is going to be a fantastic idea now. So, it's more stuff for Havoc squads, which I'm always a fan of. I've said that before. And then you don't have to kill Doliacs, like we were saying earlier. Is like you can just kill the sentry, and the Doliac gets crippled forever in a day, and you can just, disrupt everything while you can starve supply to a camp while your world is trying to set up to take it. So,
I know.
It's good. It's tactical stuff.
Go ahead, Aaron.
The thing is, with them reducing I think they're reducing the amounts of most of the higher, the bigger tiers. So they're reducing the amount of points you have to get to max these out. there's people with, thousands of world rank points that are already maxed out and everything, and now they're going to have even less to spend their world rank points on. So I really hope with the new Borderlands they'll add in new ability tiers, because, I mean, obviously they should be able to, because there will be all sorts of new mechanics in the new map. So I just hope we get more tiers so that people have more to do with their world rank points.
Or new abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just we need more to do with these points, because they go all the way up to 10,000. So
Yeah,
is there an
hopefully
actual
they're giving us
cap
more toys.
to world rank?
there's a cap for the titles you earn for ranking up. I don't know if there's an actual cap on world rank, but you'll go all the way up to diamond, I think, is the top, and you'll be like a diamond legend, and that's like rank 9,999 or something. I don't know if you
Diamond in
can
the
rank
rough.
past there. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope they add more trait lines, like interesting ones, especially since they're they're changing maps, like whole new tactics. Who knows if there's something there that might be awesome to add.
Who knows? Mastery lines that require world rank points to spend on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
World v World masteries where you have to unlock them with both mastery points and world ranks, and then you level up with world XP.
Like, in all honesty, they should just roll the world v World rank up system into the mastery system. That would be the easiest way to do it. So
Yeah, I agree.
And then just have the rank points be what you get for doing stuff in World versus World, and then the World v World XP is how you complete that tier, just like regular mastery points and regular experience.
yeah, that would probably be the best way to do it, I think.
And I mean, I was just gonna say, when you were talking about that, even though we don't need world completion, like World v World for world completion anymore, would the skill point, like if skill points are getting changed into these hero points, could, like, maybe down the road you're gonna have to go in there to map complete it in a way, so you can fill out
hero points.
Yeah, fill out other specializations they come in with down the road. So
it's possible. Who knows if they'll, like, it's like we said before, they're not implementing these with the current Borderlands, so we don't know how much map completion material will be on the new ones.
Yeah,
but they could do, if they roll it in with the mastery system, it's definitely something they could do.
I mean, would you guys want to see that? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, with further, I'm assuming, expansions, they might end up adding, like, additional areas, so there's more map completion per specialization line that gets added. So I don't know. It'd be interesting, but then again, I also see the same issue with like, I know people talk about it a lot, is, you've got PvE people coming into WW, taking up slots, and it just, yeah, I know. Hey, no, I do it too, because I go in for Master of Ruins or Land Claimer or Big Spender, and it's like, I'm only in there for like 5-10 minutes, but it's a competitive thing, and sometimes, what you're ending up doing is you're cutting off, like, numbers that people could use to be actually turning the tides in your favor.
I'm blocking that one great commander that was going to lead us to victory. Sorry.
Look, I'm not saying it's improbable, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
So
when people complain about that, it's like, what do you want? What do you want me to do? Do you want it to be a closed-off game type with ArenaNet sanctioned tournaments only? No, it's an open game type. Learn to deal with it.
And honestly, like, it's mimicking, like, real-world, large-scale combat to an extent. I mean, we're throwing fireballs and lightning and death spells, so
yeah,
grain of salt here, but you're going to have people that are less experienced in a war. You're not always going to have a full army of battle-hardened veterans. You're going to have recruits sometimes.
Well, and let's take that further. When you do have a full army of battle-hardened veterans, chances are you will win, which is why servers with more dedicated player bases tend to win. That's why I really don't. Yeah, that's why I don't have a problem with that sort of thing in WW, because I'm like, that's what the game type is for. It's for, like, rallying your server and things like that. That's all part of WW to me.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it also creates a good system in the community. Like I remember when the last tournament was happening, which I mean, come on, Arena, where's the next one? Like it actually got me in there to actually play, not just take what I needed and get out. Like I actually liked roaming around and
I actually enjoyed the tournaments. Those are fun.
But yeah, I remember the last tournament, like people on Yaxben, and I saw it on other ones being advertised, be like, hey, this night our guild, blah blah blah, is gonna like try to train people, and I think that's excellent for a community to do. I think it fosters a good community, kind of server pride, and also hey, if I go anywhere, this community's like there. So, I mean. I agree with what both of you are saying and like how Aaron's saying like rallying the server. That's I think for me is awesome.
As part of a war, yeah, which is what WW's, like Jim said, it's what WW is supposed to mimic.
I mean,
I also really like it when like a group of 5 guild people who are super badasses can come in and just trounce like 15 people. Like that's always cool to see.
Like when you have like people who are organized, it's like, oh yeah, look at these 15 people who aren't on TeamSpeak with each other and
don't have builds that sync with each other and stuff, and then they just come in and wipe the floor with you. Like it sucks to be on the receiving end.
I am super excited to see the new specializations in WvW World.
Like, yeah, that's what I wanted to say earlier. Was like I'd love to go in with Dragon Hunter with all the traps and stuff, and just.
I think we have it slotted maybe a little bit later, but the Dragon Hunter PvP they did yesterday for the live stream, I just remember there's this one clip I was showing Aaron earlier, and there's this point where it's a Zerker Dragon Hunter, and they're up against a thief, and just to show, what they can do. And he walks up to the capture point, drops all of the traps, all of them, and waits, and then you see the thief come in the door in stealth. And then you see the thief downed after all the traps trigger. And it's just like, I think this is what people were missing with the Dragon Hunter, just the sheer damage ratios they've got. Because, I mean, I know a lot of people were saying that the Dragon Hunter seemed really underwhelming, but after watching what those traps and those abilities could do, I think they've got a lot more going for them than what we originally thought. And I'm looking forward to see the rest of the specializations in World v. World 2.
That was always like a reoccurring thing too, like, oh, this sounds so stupid, and then like literally when they would show like it on the streams, they'd be like R.I.P. Necro, or whatever the profession was that week, and then they're like, as soon as they cast like one thing, they're like, well, this is OP, this is crap, this is nerf it. It's like everybody just swapped, like, but I think did you feel like that represented it well enough, because it was a heavy armor wear versus a thief, which I think at the beginning, I don't know if that was just joking or like kind of teasing, devs back and forth type thing. But he said like he thinks like I forget who was on the thief. He usually does the PvP 101. I'm really blanking on the name, but he said like he thinks he even what's that?
Hugh?
Yeah, Hugh. He said he thinks he forgot to pick up like an amulet or something, which is for people that don't PvP, where your stats come from.
Yeah, literally all of your stats, yes.
And I was talking with some people in guild afterwards, saying like, because of course after all that stuff they use all that stuff, everybody was like, oh, this is OP. And of course they say the numbers aren't final, all that stuff. But honestly, he had to use like 5 skills to instantly put someone down who might not have had stats.
Well, and who just kind of walked into it, whereas I think someone in PvP, when you see a Dragon Hunter, you're like, Dragon Hunter traps. Let's try to lure them out where they're standing very obviously.
You're generally speaking not going to drop all of the traps in the same location. I mean, you might drop the spinning blade trap in conjunction with Dragon's Maw just to keep people inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, you've got a point, but it's just it kind of showcased the power that the abilities have. Yes. I'm still kind of meh on them not being able to do a ranged activation of them, But
Well, and it's the damage is actually, I don't know what did it say? Did they say what stat combo the Dragon Hunter is
Zerker.
using? Zerker. Okay, then that's not that impressive actually.
and they were I think they were the other footage they had was Hammer. It was Hambo Guardian versus Hambo Warrior. And they were both Zerker, and that was a massive slugfest.
I was gonna say my money would still be on the Hambo Warrior in like a normal player
I'd have
PvP
to-
setting,
I
not
only
a
want to
dev.
see.
Like, I mean,
Well,
let's be honest. If you're a dev and you're setting up your Dragon Hunter PvP live stream, everything's rigged in favor of the Dragon Hunter. Like, they're not going to let the Dragon Hunter lose. So you can't
Well,
really
And I
take
think
that.
because the person that was doing was Joshua Davis, and I think he said like during that fight, I think he said he left in one of the times he died, but I think both sides died a lot when they were doing the Hambo Warrior versus the Hambo Guardian. So, but I think he left one of them in, so it seems like it's fairly balanced. It might just come down to who's playing it. So,
Which is good.
Yeah. So
So,
hopefully we'll get to look forward to. I think they said they wanted to do more of the professions. Like, which one would you guys want to see? And same to chat. Which one would you want to see next displayed? And I think
for
that
PvP?
yeah, out of the ones that we have currently, which we know of, are the
I wanna see the
Chronomancer,
Reaper.
Mesmer, Reaper for the Necro, and we just saw the Guardian one.
I want to see the Reaper do PvP because, granted, like the huge slow hitting abilities look really cool, but I think one of the things that I was talking about on the Guild Wars 2 subforum on MMO Champion when the Reaper came out is big slow hits in PvP, generally speaking, not the greatest because it's avoidable. But if you can find a way to if the Reaper does seem to be set up so that you can force people to take at least something, and once you get on top of them, you don't get away without burning a significant amount of resources, then I think that's an okay thing. But I think it would probably take a skilled person to stay on top of somebody still.
I think what you'll see from Reapers in PvP is they won't be wielding a greatsword, and they'll have completely different utilities, but people will still trait into Reaper for the chill, like for all the chill bonuses,
Yeah.
and then you'll just see people running chill builds with chill sigils. But yeah, I don't think they'll be using greats. They might use the shouts because shouts are like instant activation utilities, which is really nice. But
I think they have a cast
I
time.
would say I think they
Oh,
have
do
like
they?
a
Yeah, the
half
Reaper-
second cast or something.
The Reaper ones have cast times because they're offensive.
okay. Then yeah, I doubt you'll see people even using the shouts because there's so much better necro utilities for PvP. But I could definitely see people specking into it just for all the chill bonuses.
I don't know. The elite shout, I think you get stability while you're casting it, and it's a 5-target, 12-second chill
Yeah.
along with a stun.
Yeah, I could see people using
So-
that. I mean, Necro, people really like Lich Form in PvP. I don't care for Lich Form, and I bet a lot of people don't. So, a lot of people use Flesh Golem for the bulldoze too, but a lot of times Flesh Golem just wanders
We
off.
talked.
and doesn't
Yeah,
feel
we
good.
talked a lot about the Flesh Golem last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
And-
too reliable. So,
And I'll say I think chat was the same way on their stream because I think they asked like he basically asked what they would want to see, and I think the majority said Reaper. I mean, it was. I mean, do you guys think like the Mesmer Chronomancer is underwhelming, or do you think it's just more straightforward and not too different?
I think it's not as flashy as the Reaper, so we like Reaper better. I know that's the case with me.
I think the Reaper has a lot more to show because you've got the greatsword skills, you've got the shouts, you've got Reaper Shroud. With the Chronomancer, you've got the 2 shield skills and the wells, and 1 new shatter.
Which is pretty much made for PvP, to be fair.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's amazingly made for PvP, especially with the counterplay that they put into it. You actually have a decent level of counterplay to it that you actually have to pay attention to wherever you chrono shift from. So.
Mhm. And when you do it, and what your health and your recharges look like when you do it, it's very it's like the most tactical skill in the game.
Yeah.
Well, it's the most tactical skill that's not in the game yet.
Yeah, point. Well, it's technically in the game files.
It's true. Patches, guys.
Yeah, always make sure to do your patches.
Well, I mean, kind of, moving away from this, since we really don't know what it's going to be. Hopefully Reaper, because that's what seems like everybody wants. But moving from one change to the other, and one that we actually have in game right now is Lion's Arch is being rebuilt. And if you don't know what that means, where have you been for the last year at least of its pure destruction? Basically in season 1, it pretty much destroyed what was left of Lion's Arch. And now they're finally rebuilding it with the help of the consortium. There's like some areas, like interesting areas. What did you guys see any interesting areas pop up that you want to explore more? Like, have you questioned the consortium guards or anything like that?
I just really thought this the concept art that was used in the article on the website was interesting because it looked very Guild Wars Utopia-y. Like, if you've seen any of the artwork for Guild Wars Utopia, the concept art they made for repairing Lion's Arch was very reminiscent. It was very tropical, very Caribbean-esque looking, and I was like, how are you? I don't know if you're going to be able to pull that off.
Well, if they're bringing back the Chronomancer on, that was going to be one of the Guild Wars 1 classes for Utopia, right? I mean, it's kind of cool if they're bringing back a bunch of other stuff that they didn't want, that they weren't able to do with Utopia in the first place. Yeah, Tavik, we know. We were talking about that before the show started, and I have an idea about that, but I want to wait for Deo to come back. But, yeah, Age, the only other thing that bugs me is Stormwind. That's all I'm going to say, is Stormwind.
Well, and it takes a long time to rebuild a city, so...
That, and at the very least, like, they put new NPCs in. The workers moved around, or at least I thought they did. I mean, I thought I saw workers in different places throughout the course of everything with the various patches. But, and then it's not just like, boom, Lion's Arch is fixed. No, they actually modeled in scaffolding, and they modeled in more workers and these barges. And it's a great thing. Like, they're doing it right. They're actually doing a multi-stage reconstruction.
Well, and it kind of makes sense, too, because, like, after the catastrophe that Scarlet wreaked upon Lion's Arch, I would imagine that over half the trade that comes through Lion's Arch probably scampered off somewhere else. So they're probably really hurting for money as a city. And so, like, where would they get the funding to just start rebuilding right away? They wouldn't. That's why this consortium had to step in and help them, because they probably didn't have the funding because nobody's doing business there anymore because it's a ghost town at this point.
I'll say chat's bringing it up, like, over a year's too long. We have golems, like, we have that technology, which is weird. Why is the consortium doing it?
I just said because they're the only ones willing to pony up the dough. No one else is willing to spend the millions of gold to fix Lion's Arch.
And to smuggle Karka into the sewers.
I'll say, here's the question. Why do they want to do it? Why do they want to help them?
Because then they'll effectively own the most important city in Tyria.
For the consortium, as far as I understand, it's about money for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
essentially,
yeah.
I'll say we really don't know much about them, except that if you don't know, the consortium was in charge of. They basically wanted to turn South Sun Shore, into a vacation spot.
And we all know how well that worked.
In the future, look for the Captain's Council and the Commodore kind of becoming political puppets of the Consortium. The Consortium is basically going to become the new Mafia, and they will run Lion's Arch with an iron fist. Because they own it now. Because they've funded the repair effort.
But the other thing, and this is what Tavik was saying, is if you go to Lion's Court, where the statue was, which they removed so that we could repair it, but south of there are 3 barges. 2 of them have sand, and 1 of them has steel beams. If you're standing on the eastern side, if you look through the holes in the girders, you will see a baby Karka stuck inside there.
Lions Arch Zoo.
I'm
Remember these
honestly
things?
the one thing I'm hoping they add in a new dungeon and they put it smack dab in Lion's Arch. Lion's Arch sewers, Karka infested sewers.
Yeah, that is something I never want to play in a million years.
I was gonna say,
You'd still
especially
run it
because
because it'll
half the
have to-
sewers are underwater. So you want underwater combat with Karka?
Yep.
Man, are you
Yes, actually,
making a zone? You're making a dungeon no one wants to run.
It annoys me so much the amount of hate underwater combat gets, because I'm just like, when people say like, oh, underwater combat's so bad, I'm like, what do you want?
Well, to be fair, like the fact that you have multiple underwater weapons, and then the people who have weapons who don't have weapon swaps have other ways to swap their weapons. But I think the thing that really bugs me about underwater combat is the number of the skills that are just like, nope, can't use this.
Yeah. If we had more skill, that's my only gripe with it too, is the lack of skills. But like, as far as the mechanics, it's like it works pretty much as efficiently as it could in any game ever. There's literally no better way to implement it, in my opinion.
It does work pretty well. So.
Yeah, you have free X, Y, and Z axis movement. It's like,
I figured out a fix for the flesh golem. Zombie shark. Win.
Okay. Yeah, see, I don't see why the flesh golem can't be underwater. It's like, it's dead.
Too much meat.
It's not like it can drown.
But honestly, no. Like it turns into like a risen shark basically, because they have the big bulldoze attack that is literally the same thing but underwater. So.
And chat's saying like underwater combat will always be annoying in all MMOs. That's a good point. It's like underwater combat's the worst feature in Guild Wars 2. It's like what MMO isn't it the worst thing ever? Like.
Well, I think that's more for the fact.
It's not the worst feature in Guild Wars 2. It's one of the most fantastic features of the game. They did it better than any other game ever.
The fact that they did do it better, but I think the issue is most of your combat experience is going to be on land. So you have an expectation, and then suddenly you're in water, and combat, it doesn't change revolutionary. It's not a revolutionary change, but it's different enough to be jarring, and I can understand why it's one of those things that it's different. I hate it. So
see, I really agree with underwater combat, and I think this is something they could actually work on with it being more challenging. Like, they should make underwater combat really hard, because fighting underwater would be really hard.
yeah.
So, like, underwater combat is something you should go into being like, okay, I'm going underwater. This is gonna be tough shit,
As you're fighting, it uses up your endurance.
Oh God, no! Please no. No, the only problem with that is like as like a systems kind of thing is you can't change it too drastically from land combat, because that you can make some changes, but they have to stack on top of it. You can't take away from the core of combat as a whole.
Oh yeah, no. But I mean, I just mean like, what if when you go underwater, monsters are a lot harder or something like that?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that. It doesn't bother me.
Now we're discussing the mechanics of a hypothetical dungeon that we don't even know is going to happen. But
this is what I have done, and I'm happy about it.
All I'm saying is I don't like the hate underwater combat gets. That's all.
But I mean, to move it back to like Lion's Arch and all these changes, like the consortium's behind it, and we don't know too much about like what makes up the consortium. Like all we really know, all we really know is they tried to make South Sun a tourist destination, and the interesting thing is, like, we only really know 3 big name people. I would say. I mean, if you guys have more, I'm pretty sure it's just 3 big name people that kind of are under that consortium flag, or were, and that would be Canuck, who season 2 he's a much bigger player, but he actually was like in charge of that initial South Sun. I guess creating it as a tourist spot. Herotron, who at the time was Jobotron. Which is also interesting because Evan Nashblade talks about, like, if you missed it last before the last update, they like Evan Nashblade, Herotron, Captain Magnus, Ellen Keel were all up in Fort Mariner talking, and it's almost like Evan Nashblade takes them aside and says, like, I know your secret. Like, what if they knew about it? So there's that weird thing there that Evan Nashblade knows something maybe the council doesn't know, and now the Captain's Council and the consortium are working together, and they don't know that there might be a plant. We don't know. So now Evan Nashblade's thrown into the mix for just knowing all this stuff. And for me, the last one is Dessa, who's the, I guess, liaison of the Fractal the Mists. And interestingly enough, she's actually against them. There's one dialogue in there where she just refers to the consortium as money-grabbing connivers. And
I mean, we kind of know that about them, to be fair.
well, I mean, we really don't know too much about them.
I think it's more the rest of the quote in there. It's bad enough I lost my boyfriend to those shady businessmen. Take my advice, reject their advances. Nothing good will come from their machinations. It's more like the rest of it, and Dessa has been in there for how long?
Mm-hmm. At least 25 years, because she's not aware of the Sylvari.
So, at the very least, they are consistent at being shady, which means that they've probably been setting, and they seem to be kind of long-term for stuff. So,
yeah, I really think the consortium are going to kind of evolve into this this criminal business organization that's got a clean front, but they do they break your legs behind closed doors. They're going to be that type of thing. They're essentially going to be the mafia of Tyria.
And I'm having flashbacks to watching the movie Misery.
Well, I was gonna say, if that's the case, they might try to drive out Evan Nashblade from Lion's Arch.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they're doing in Lion's Arch, is they're taking over. Through funding the relief effort was literally the most dangerous move they could have made. Now they have more clout in Lion's Arch and more say than pretty much anyone else.
Then now you're basically going to have to sign up to be a consortium merchant at some point. We might actually see Evan Nashblade set up another hub somewhere else as like a new merchant capital.
Evan Nashblade all the way.
Yeah, the Captain's Council now has their hands tied by the consortium, because it's like, oh, they plan all the relief effort, but where does the money come from for the relief effort? From the consortium. So the consortium has the final say, because they can choose to fund it or not, because they're a private entity.
And yeah, that's definitely going to be the interesting thing, because if you haven't heard the ambient dialogue of some of the merchants, and I think even Evan Nashblade, where he basically says he loved what Ellen Keel put him in charge, because that basically destroyed all other merchants and left him standing. So he's the only one left, which makes me think, how far back does the consortium's, as Aaron's saying, how far back does their reach go? Because maybe they were like, put him in charge, we only have to drive one person out now, instead of all these little merchants. Or
Evan Nashblade's been working with them the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have felt super like that burned by Keel.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know.
See, I absolutely love this method of storytelling from them. This is absolutely fantastic. You have to find ambient conversations. It's stuff that you're walking past. So it's the hey, wait, what was that again? I love that.
It's one of my favorite. Planting plot seeds like this is one of the best ways to tell a story, because it introduces an idea, and it's an idea that makes sense in the storyline right now, and you might not think it means anything, but it's going to crop up later, and it's going to be a big deal. And it shows up in a lot of really good stories, and it's one of the most fantastic methods of storytelling. And
I know, like, at least for me, and I've known some people that do that, where after that first time where it was like, oh no, they said it back in like this little blurb, from then on you're just like, everything means something. Like, you then get into that and you start all this speculation of how many ways can it go and all that stuff.
And And I never speculate like too much on those things because I'm really bad at discerning that type of stuff. But to me, this consortium taking over LA or funding the relief effort in LA thing, that's going to be huge. Like the consortium, look towards them having their own subplot in later expansions or Living World or what have you. Like they're going to be a huge entity coming up, I think.
Oh, chat is being very serious right now, and I have to agree with them.
What, the water slide? Yeah, chat wants
we
a
need
water,
a water
slide. Don't let a consortium know that, because they'll do that to buy your votes. Don't.
I was gonna say they'll do it, but it'll cost you a gold every time you want to go down.
You know what's gonna go down that slide? Not
awesome
just
water slide.
It's like, you know what's not gonna just go down that slide? Not just you, but all your hopes and dreams, because that's what the consortium does.
You know what's funny though? If you got an achievement or if it was a jumping puzzle, people would pay that 1 gold.
Oh yeah.
Like if it was some kind of, like if you had to slide from one way or the other and like choose different branches, yeah, people would do that all the time.
I just thought of like the consortium will come in to like appease the people, and there's going to literally be a consortium elevator to the end of the jumping puzzle. You can pay them 1 gold and you can go up it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it'd be hilarious.
Terrible.
But also with the whole Lion's Arch revamp, they put out a survey for people to take, and it just has 5 questions. It's based on renaming locations in Lion's Arch, and we thought it'd be fun to just kind of go through them and kind of argue over the different ones. Basically, the first question was, the former Canal Ward has been overhauled and now houses some of the most important buildings in the city. Please help us find a fitting name, and the choices are City Central, Commodore's Quarter, and King Dork's Court. So, what one did, if you have taken this, what one did you pick, or what one are you leaning towards?
So King Dork's Court is stupid because King Dork or his bloodline hasn't had anything to do with ruling Lion's Arch for a super long time. And Commodore's Quarters is awkward to say, so I went with City Central.
I went with Commodore's Quarter because the Canal Ward is basically the northern entrance to Lion's Arch from Gandharan Fields, and it's not very central to the city. And I thought Commodore's Quarter sounded cooler. So
it's hard to get your mouth around.
Well, I mean, City Central, this was the one I was most willing to go bland on, just because it kind of makes sense. It's like the City Central. It's easy to like let people know it's the central.
You know, it's funny you say that, go bland on it. It does seem like it's a lot of it is bland option, pirate option, history option.
Yeah,
so.
I would agree with that. And I mean, granted, I am going for Commodore's Quarter, just because King Dork's, while he ruled that area, that was so long ago, it's so irrelevant to where the story is now.
Well, it's like, I could see you naming like an old monument that was kind of a remnant of the original Lion's Arch after him, but something new that's coming out of new things that have happened without him, that's not cool.
Yeah, for me, Commodore's Quarter, it makes more sense because that's kind of the quote-unquote ruler of Lion's Arch, just because I believe it was Sea of Sorrows, that to keep it out of Kryta's rule, they said there would always be a Commodore there to rule out, like, to guide it. So I picked Commodore's Quarter just because, but I was more willing to be with City Central. It's just King Dork's was just like, hey, this is something you definitely don't know about. Go look it up. Like, it's making them go to it to be like, oh, there's a king that goes here. It's like,
man,
it seemed too far.
It's like, especially when his bloodline is now ruling up in Divinity's Reach. It's like,
yeah, it
doesn't really belong here.
Yeah, exactly. That's just my feel. So, I mean, it looks like some chat's leaning towards Commodore's Quarter. So, but I mean, hopefully, let's come to a consensus. consensus. Is it Commodore's Quarter, City Central, or King Dork's Court?
I think you guys outvoted me for Commodore's Quarter.
It was 2-3. We already came to a consensus.
Well, and I was going to
2-1.
include chat, and that just makes it 3-1. But
I have a feeling
I wrote an article on this for Guild Mag, walking through my choices, and I was torn apart on Reddit for my
Really?
choice. Yes, Reddit did not like what I had to say.
You just never seem to have any luck there.
Reddit doesn't like me.
The next question. The lighthouse, our stalwart harbor guide, has been rebuilt from the ground up. It deserves a new name to go with its new image. And the choices are Grady Lighthouse, Beacon Point, and Phoenix Roost. So, what do you guys think? Which one are you guys going for?
I went for Phoenix Roost. Sue me.
So did I. Nope, Phoenix Roost.
I went with Grady Lighthouse.
Isn't Grady the guy who... What was it?
He died defending the lighthouse so that his daughter could get away. I still think Grady Lighthouse is awkward to say. Sounds dumb.
Not just that. I'm going back to the 4-box for this because this is serious stuff.
God.
Not just
I don't
that.
care. It's a dumb name.
Phoenix Roost.
I like that name. I think it's cool.
I will find that in any game that had an issue where they're rebuilding upon it. Phoenix this, Phoenix that. Honestly.
Would it?
Yeah, that's such a cliche thing. Things rising from the ashes. We're rebuilding. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to point you back to the question we submitted to Troy's interview with Colin Johansson. Cantha?
I think Phoenix Roost sounds cool.
I think
it's the most cliche. That I said it jokingly during the week. That is the Dragon Hunter option. Like everybody was saying, Dragon Hunter's so bland. Yeah, that's blander. Well, I'm sorry.
I don't think Dragon Hunter's bland. I think it's the exact opposite. I think it's so weird.
I can't remember what it was, but it basically felt like Grady was put in to die. Like I don't feel like
he's a throwaway escort NPC.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's been there the whole time.
Right. But they've said they've been planning to destroy Lion's Arch since 6 months into the game's release.
Then all of this is pointless.
I think Grady was a great guy, but I think Grady Lighthouse sounds dumb.
It's the only thing about the guy is he was what? He was one of the move speed NPCs, I think. And that was it. I think that
from walking up to him, yes, he wasn't that much, but in the end he played a bigger role. You just didn't escort his family. He stayed behind so no more people would go into the harbor when Scarlet was destroying everything. I mean, granted,
that doesn't change the fact that Grady Lighthouse is a dumb name, though.
Well, no, I get naming the lighthouse after the guy was fine, but when he had to stay behind, why?
To signal people?
There was a giant lit up ship with a giant drill on it sitting in Lion's Arch.
I was just going to say, if they can't see
no
that,
one really
I know.
did a signal.
Well, you don't know. They're into goofy stuff. Like it's like, something else is happening.
The whole point of us doing the 45-minute and 15-minute, like the 45-15 cycle, is the miasma got too strong and we had to wait for the ocean winds to blow it out to sea. That was what we were doing in the 15-minute downtimes between the Escape from Lion's Arch runs. All of that miasma is blowing out to sea, which means that nobody's sailing into the lighthouse.
Well, basically,
Grady was a guy who was created as who was used as an NPC who died pointlessly.
Well, he's a sympathy sponge. He's meant to soak up your sympathy, and he succeeded.
You guys are heartless.
I killed him myself.
He is a hero. Oh
no, my question is, he stayed. Why?
Like, your question is he a hero or is he just dumb?
And I hate to say it because yes, it makes me feel like a bit of a dick because the whole point was he wanted to stay behind and make sure people were safe. But it's one of those things where it's like, this isn't Morden Solus in Mass Effect 3, where it's
You
if I
like
can
you
do
don't
it,
know the
someone-
character at all. Yeah.
What's that?
Like
No,
you don't
no.
know the character at all. It's just
Mor-
ArenaNet.
Morden,
Guys, isn't
Morden
this sad?
in Mass Effect 3, at the very end, I'm not giving a spoiler tag here because it's been so long since the game came out. In Mass Effect 3, when Morden dies, or at least when it's potential for him to die, going up to the top of a tower to make sure that something works, and the tower is exploding, and he says, it has to be me, someone else might get it wrong. Grady isn't Morden Solus.
He was the keeper of the lighthouse. He was the only one that kind of knew how to operate it, really.
But why did the lighthouse have to keep operating? Because no one was coming into the bay, because the bay was very clearly under attack for miles. There were airships, there were lights, there were everything. Run!
Plus, I think that battle went on for like a long time, so I think the word kind of got out.
I mean, there was enough time to send people out in patrol boats.
You do
to
know,
keep
even
you
though
out
it
of the-
lasted for like 2 weeks, that was meant to be a one-time event. They didn't
Yes,
resurrect Grady
I mean,
to die
who
again.
knows? Who knows how long in-game time the battle was supposed to go? Like, I'm sure it wasn't an hour of
Yeah,
like.
it wasn't a
timing.
45-minute. Like, technically,
Yeah.
the way I think of it is if you layer all of the Lion's Arch events together. So the attack on Lion's Arch was like 3 hours, 4 hours.
Well, I mean, my line of thinking is if you look at real battles that would happen in medieval warfare, for example, battles could go, especially sieges of cities, battles could go for days. Battles
Right.
could go for weeks. I'm
Well,
not
they
saying it
didn't
went for
have
weeks,
magic
but
and airships, so
that's true, but
half a day
could've-
Well, okay.
is it's an estimate.
I'll say let's
kinda
vote on
a
it.
battle.
Let's vote on it. Which one are you guys going for? Is it
Phoenix Roost.
Phoenix Roost.
okay? So, 2 of you going for Phoenix Roost. Seems like no one's going for Beacon's Point. I'm going for the right answer, Grady's Lighthouse. Like I saw a lot of people in chat say Grady's Lighthouse. I'm trying to
Yeah,
see.
pretty much the whole community voted Grady's Lighthouse.
And I get that,
Well,
but it's
it
just
seems like-
kind of no, I get it. It's fine. It'll probably be named Grady's Lighthouse, and that in the end, I get why people do it.
I'm worried it won't be because people will say Phoenix Roost sounds cool.
It does. I like it. I like the sound of it. I'd name a boat Phoenix Roost.
Well, then
Airship,
name a
maybe?
boat. No, it's a
Well,
little
it's-
dinghy. Ugh.
I do admit this point in time the generic bland one was really generic and bland. Like I would like to see the metrics for this. How many people voted Beacon Point?
Yeah, Beacon Point is the generic bland one.
You did?
Did the wife vote Beacon Point?
Yes, she did.
Expect someone to
Oh,
be
no.
something to be thrown in.
Oh,
Told me to
no.
shut up. No,
Well,
no.
let's move on
I
to the
mean,
next question because
Okay.
I was gonna say time
we
is
spent
of
a
the
lot
essence.
of time on that one.
All right.
There we go.
We don't know why our beloved Lion Fountain was the constant target of mischief and destruction, but we loved it just the same. Sadly, it's gone. Should we honor its legacy or choose a new name for the location? And there's only 2 choices for this one. Lion's Court, which is keep it the same, and Festival Plaza.
I'm pretty sure everybody went Lions Court. Like, I'm pretty sure there's literally 0 votes for Festival Plaza.
We can't have Lion's Arch without Timmy. We
Yeah.
call it Timmy here in GVN. But the lion, like, what was it? The one NPC says that what was it in the story instance where you meet Destiny's Edge, or where you see them bickering for the 1st time? There was the one NPC you talked to that said every new race that came to Lion's Arch added onto the fountain.
Which is interesting because that's actually not in there anymore, I don't think. But
Yeah, I want that. Like, I want that back. I want that to be a center point for the city because it's still a big deal.
well, and that's the worrying thing. When they refer to it as sadly it's gone, when we say keep it the same, are we gonna get the statue back? I want the statue
Yes,
back.
because keep
Yeah,
it.
I
They
think
had to
we'll-
remove the rubble to rebuild it. So
It might be, like,
Okay.
updated and have some new aesthetics to it, but I think we'll get the lion statue back.
I hope so. I was worried when they said keep it the same because it hasn't really been there in its pristine form for quite a while.
They'll just leave it broken.
I don't know. Like,
Or how about when the consortium airlifts it in, they actually accidentally drop it and it cracks.
Jeez. Let's not. And that's the entrance to the infested sewers dungeon.
That wouldn't be that weird. I mean, that's where the Mad Kings was. So.
I don't like the idea of dedicating. Like, that was the Mystic Plaza, right? Is that what it was called?
No,
was that Traders
that's the
Forum?
one next to where the bank used to be, where the Mystic
Right.
Forge was. So.
Yeah, the Mystic Forge, where the Mystic Forge used to be in Traders Forum, that was like the festival plaza. Every time, all the decorations were there. Like, that's where the cauldron was for Halloween, and where you can jump in and get randomly turned into one of the Halloween costumes. There was a whole bunch of stuff there, and it was a central area, and that was fine. The lion was kind of a big deal, like I said earlier, and just here, this entire place changes every single time a holiday rolls through. What's going to happen when it's not a holiday? Or is it just going to be like, there are people having a party here? Is that what they mean by Festival Plaza?
There's just gonna be a 24/7 moot going on in the Festival Plaza.
Tavik, you have a new job. Get your mace and get going.
All right, so what are we gonna go with? Lions Court, keep it the same, or Festival Plaza?
Keep the same.
What do you think?
Yeah, you haven't really said anything, Deo.
Well, I think
Literally, it's
Lions
Lions
Court.
Court.
I really don't see this as an option. I mean, nostalgia wins. Lions Court. I want to see the lion statue. And I think as soon as we brought this up, like people were saying Lions Court, and I think it's pretty unanimous. I mean, do you want to ask the missus if she picked Festival Plaza and dig yourself deeper into the hole?
I'm pretty sure she chose Lions Court too, because we got to have Timmy.
Okay. And what do you say, Aaron?
Lions Court.
Like, Court is triumph. Question 4. After Scarlet's attack on our beloved city, the council installed additional ground and air defenses to improve security. Lions Arch now also hosts its very own airbase. What should we call it? And the options are Marshall Aerodome, Lions Arch Aerodome, and Apex Aerodome.
Apex Aerodome.
Drome?
Hmm?
Drome?
Oh,
Drome.
sorry.
Yeah, Aerodrome.
Sorry. I was quickly reading. My apologies. They're all Aerodrome for people listening to it on...
Apex.
I went with
Marshall.
Apex too.
Yeah, Marshall doesn't sound right, and Lions Arch Aerodrome is like the Captain Obvious of titles.
I went with Marshall Aerodrome. Mainly because, for me,
did?
the first
Sounds
sentence...
awful.
Well,
Because
let him
it's
explain. Give him a
it's
second.
a defensive area. And it even says in the question, the council installed additional ground and air defenses. This is supposed to be a militaristic area.
Yeah, it's basically another Fort Mariner. So, but for airships. I
Yeah, but
get
Marshall Aerodrome doesn't sound very good.
But it tells you what it is.
Like, it's...
Well, Aerodrome tells you what it is.
Yeah, so does
Well-
Apex Aerodrome. We call it Sky Base up there location.
I picked...
Sounds better,
Apex. I admit I picked Apex, though Lions Arch was really close, because there was something I was reading that basically, with the advent of airship technology, it's possible that, other major cities might be getting their own aerodromes.
Yeah, I heard Wooden Potatoes come up with that,
Yeah.
and a couple other people. And that makes sense to me, but as of right now, for how I see it, and they refer to it as a air defenses, I don't see that as a kind of recreational place for people to stop by.
Well, it's not necessarily recreational. It's like an airport. I mean, without the mall or the shops or anything.
Well,
here
we
is
don't
air
know that.
transportation.
We don't know that. They might throw a Starbucks in there.
Hey,
That's where you buy glider skins.
I was going to say, with the consortium in charge now, they can use it for whatever the hell they want. And if they want to make money, they'll open it up for commercial use instead of just military use.
If you want to put a shop there, that's where you can buy glider skins.
Or a gift shop. That's how you'll gift all your stuff from the gem store. Oh. I'm just kidding. So how are we gonna vote on this? I know I'm voting Marshall Aerodrome, so that's one for Marshall Aerodrome.
Apex.
Apex.
I'm going to go with my original vote, but I will say that Lion's Arch was a very close second for me.
Is that in fear of getting something thrown at you, or?
No, it's just that.
I do see in chat someone did vote for Lion's Arch Aerodrome, which I agree. If it does go that route of multiple cities, it makes sense. And chat's also saying Apex for the win. So it seems like it's fairly scattered, but it might turn out to be Apex because I've seen a lot of people lean that way.
I would kind of like to see them have like a live updated graphic that would like every few hours updated with the new stats on this, because obviously they're having the survey up for a really long time.
No, they're actually not. I was going to say afterwards, it says in the article it's literally going to be there for a week, so have it done by next Tuesday.
It's a pretty decent amount of time.
Well, okay, I thought you meant like long as in like update wise, like have it up for like 3 update worth, like. Or Marshall as in militaristic. Someone in chat saying Marshall sounds too much like marital, which, you know, anything could happen. In-game weddings, that's a thing people like.
They call it the Mile High Club for a reason.
All right, the last question in the survey. To honor the memory of the fallen, we've built a permanent memorial in place of the Remembrance Wall. This place of reflection deserves to be called Theo Ashford Memorial, Field of the Fallen, or the Forever Memorial.
Field of the Fallen. Moving on.
Field of the Fallen.
So no one's...
Wash. No one's.
So no one wants the Theo Ashford Memorial?
No.
Who's Theo Ashford?
He is the Captain's Council member that was murdered by Mitrin at Dragon Bash.
Oh, okay. I wasn't around for that. So.
He was added actually during the Lost Shore update, which is the one where we start going to South Sun. And
his name carries connotation with Guild Wars 1 with Ashford Abbey.
Yeah. And the backstory with it is him and Logan are like family friends. Like their families go way back type of thing.
See, that feels like did he get any more kind of exposition than that? Was he important in any other way?
He was on the Captain's Council, but he was the first one. People say he was the first one to die to Scarlet's Hand, which technically wasn't.
Well, but that's the thing is, like, was he introduced to die at Dragon Bash?
I mean, if you searched around the place, but he really...
I'm not sure if he was in the lore before Dragon Bash or not.
Well, like I said, he was added during the South Sun stuff, but really no mention. I think his assistant or his person that was second in command or something that would have taken over if he died actually was killed during Flame and Frost. So it seems like Scarlet was setting up all this, because if you don't know, Theo Ashford was killed so Mitrin could be put in place, who was a agent of Scarlet's. Yeah, and chat saying he's been there since almost the start, which, yeah, I think the South Sun edition was like November of 2011?
2000. The game didn't launch till 2012, so...
Oh, sorry, 2012.
Chances are it was 2012.
If that's the part you're going to pull me up on, I am so sorry. Jeez.
But it just... If he wasn't, like, was his death felt? Like, was he, did people see, like, his death and they gave him a
cinematic during the Dragon Bash, like, when they...
Oh, I don't mean the cinematic or what the devs did for him, like... For people experiencing the story, did it matter?
No one cared.
I was just going to say, the whole week I've been saying, if that wins, I'm literally calling it the George R.R. Martin Shrine, because he was put in the game to die. I'm sorry.
Like, I mean, that's what I've been hearing, but since I didn't experience that particular part of the story, and I haven't done due diligence looking back into it, but it just... it really does feel like it's kind of meh. Like there's no real emotional attachment to Theo Ashford because he felt like he was put in to die. So making a memorial after him would kind of be silly.
Yeah,
So,
that's how I felt.
yeah.
And the another option was Field of the Fallen, which it seems like that one's getting the biggest buzz. But I mean, what do you guys think?
It's because it sounds good. Field of the Fallen. Just it sounds right. Forever
Yeah, but-
Memorial. It's like, why was that even come up with?
I mean, Aaron, don't pigeonhole yourself. We still have a third option. Don't say that one sounds the best. You've only heard two of the options. You haven't done this already, have you? Like,
No, of course not.
Clearly not. No.
because I mean, the third option, the Forever Memorial.
What was
Again,
it? I think
why would they even put that in as a choice? Like, what writer thought that was a good idea?
we were talking about it, and
This
I
is
think
something people will vote for.
what was it? We were talking about it's like lions are like I think oh crap, it was in chat. It was the funniest thing. Damn it.
Well, I mean, for me, the Forever
Lions
Memorial
Arch
just sounds
Auto.
good.
I'll find it eventually. But it was basically Lion's Arch is basically based around being destroyed and then rebuilt.
Oh yeah.
Forever Memorial.
Oh yeah. Like if they have a placard there,
not gonna
I think
be
everybody's gonna be
forever.
like cutting the ribbon. This is the Forever Memorial, and everybody's like, really?
There it is. LA's motto is "From ruin we prosper." Thank
Yeah.
you, Tabak.
He voiced that in support of our Phoenix Roost argument, by the way.
Well, I mean, not everybody can be right. I mean, just yeah, but I mean, ultimately, I think we should vote. So who's for Theo Ashford Memorial?
I think we're all voting for Field of the Fallen.
As I say,
Yeah.
I think I need a cricket soundboard.
Feel of the Fallen is the vote here.
Yeah, as I say, I think all three of us are voting for Field of the Fallen. I've seen some people say in chat Field of the Fallen. I really haven't seen much mention of the other two. So it seems like from our podcast, Field of the Fallen. And if you want to argue about it, feel free to leave stuff in the comments on the YouTube and stuff. But let's quickly move along because we still have much to cover. And
It was a big week
On
Yeah,
the
I
old
know.
YouTube.
on the YouTubes.
on the
On the old
YouTubes.
YouTube the kids are using these days with their keyboards.
They announced the next closed beta event, and it will be May 26th. And this is the one that revolved around getting those beta portals. Now, granted, it's not the only way to get them. They still said that they were going to send out emails to maybe fill out whatever remaining stuff they want to do. Just so you know, it's May 26th. It's 3 2-hour blocks, and it is 11:30 a.m. Pacific time to 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time to 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and the last block is 7:30 p.m. Pacific time to 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. So look it up in your time zone if you have gotten access. I think they've already sent out emails even to the people that are getting in through email alone. So definitely check your email from your that's attached to your account and whatnot. So, and hopefully to
Got
see you
mine
guys
Friday.
there.
Yeah, got mine yesterday, so they should all be
Awesome.
out.
Yeah. So, and the cool thing is what they're testing is supposedly the day and night event cycle. At least that's what they said in the blog post. Because a lot of people read the beginning part that said stress test and were very angry about it, saying it was just to pile people in and test the servers. That's not all what a stress test, like, stress test is very much just stress testing a certain mechanic or server or
It's-
anything.
Generally
It's-
speaking, stress testing a system. The physical hardware is a system, but also the day-night cycle is a system. So stress
It's a
tests
pretty-
can apply to a lot of things.
Well, it's a pretty significant system because they said that in Heart of Thorns, things are going to get much more dangerous at night than during the day. So I think they want to see how that balances out.
Definitely, yeah. And I'm I'm pretty excited about that. I'm kind of glad that it's a probably going to be a heavy vacation week because the first block starts at 2:30 my time for Eastern, and I'll be at work that day. So
Well,
I
I was
might
say,
be
speaking of
loading
which,
up the game.
we're planning on arranging at least one of us, or we're going to try to get all of us to go into one of those blocks. So if you like our opinions about this kind of stuff, and I hope you do since you're watching, we're going to try to hit one of those times to have like almost like a Talking Skritt one to run around in.
Come watch us flail around in the new zone.
Yeah, either, you know, keep an eye on Twitch, which is, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's twitch.tv/Talking Skritt. Or just follow one of us on Twitter. I'm sure we'll tweet it out that we're doing it. Like I said, we
follow
still
all of us on Twitter, to be fair.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed,
totally.
because Robin's not here, she's spending time on this holiday weekend away. So once she gets back, we're gonna find out when we can all do it, what time is the best, and hopefully give that to you guys. So
She
like I said,
has a life. Weird.
but yeah, I mean that's basically it about the next closed beta. But I think what's the next topic is what kind of makes that interesting, that it seems like they're kind of getting that one out of the way, is ArenaNet in the past hasn't been a big fan of E3, but PC Gamer, who's running the PC conference for E3, they actually just announced, I believe a couple days ago, that ArenaNet is actually going to be there and participating, supposedly.
And I believe this is actually something we speculated might happen on an earlier episode of the show.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we're smart, guys.
Because that was when we had the whole big talk about how E3 is for the investors, not the people. It's
And
For the
a press
suits.
convention. Yeah.
Yeah, if you
and I just,
definitely go back and watch the previous show where we talk about it, but just as a quick synopsis.
We have no idea which episode that was.
not sure at all. You'll have to watch all of them to be
Guess
sure.
you'll have to watch all of them.
Shush. ArenaNet in the past really hasn't gone to E3 because it wasn't very, I don't remember the exact term, but like fan friendly. Like they were kind of being, I think they got fined for actually being loud.
They got fined for being too loud. Yeah.
So and they haven't really been back, and this was like at the beginning of Guild Wars 1, so this is 10 plus years.
Which I'm sure at this point it's like, you know, there's probably different people in charge of the
It's probably a
convention.
different regime.
It's a completely different regime, so it doesn't really matter. There's no point in holding the grudge.
See, that's the thing that originally, like, I found that out, and I'm like, growing up, I'd see, you know, stuff about E3, and it's like, oh yeah, they're going to be showing all this cool stuff at E3. I'm like, it would be awesome to go to E3. And then I find out that it's a press convention. You have to be a member of the press. And then now I find out that people can get fined for being too loud.
We'll have to try to insert Robin into E3.
Yeah, really. But it's just, it kind of kills it for me. And it's like, it's a convention. It's going to be loud regardless. If you can be fined for being too loud, what was ArenaNet doing?
Well, to be perfectly honest, nothing gets me more enthused about a game when they announce something and people are just like, oh, yeah, so that would be good. Yeah, mm-hmm. I want people to be like, this is amazing! I want to see people throwing money at the screen, like a just guy coming in with a push broom, like, we'll give this back later.
See, I don't mind when people do that for something that merits it, but what I hate is when they announce the next Call of Duty and people do that, because it's like, look, it's the same game as we released in 2009. Aren't you excited? And then everyone goes apeshit, and I'm like, why are you doing this? You're ruining the gaming industry single-handedly.
But I still remember one of the conventions where like people were announcing things, like it was just like a slight applause. I'm like, this is the most boring crap ever. Like, I'm like, I'll watch it later. Like,
the best part of E3 is going on Twitter and watching all the media personalities that are there ridiculing everything that's happening there.
I think it's predominantly still press, but it's very much more lenient in that. But I think
they have like plenty of YouTubers attend E3 and stuff like that.
Yeah. So people in chat are asking if it's still press only, which I'm pretty sure the majority.
So, yeah, you have to be attached to some sort of like media outlet
But they're not doing the whole like uptight. You have to be part of an established news industry. Like YouTube and Twitch is still a thing.
YouTube and Twitch simply count as established. Like you can't take your, for example, 150 sub YouTube channel and go to E3. They won't let you in.
Way to crush our hopes and dreams there, Aaron.
Like even I don't know about E3, but PAX, for example, on their media registration page, they say to be a YouTube channel to get a press badge, you have to have at least 50,000 subscribers.
Okay, now Chad is saying there is an attendee registration, but you need to attach a company. So, yeah, they're probably always.
So if you're not pressed, you need to be a potential investor, basically.
Got it.
Which is what they would want them to throw their money at the screen. I mean,
I think the consortium's in charge of E3, to be perfectly honest.
ArenaNet would love that.
Wow. That would get really meta really quick, and I'm not sure how I'd be able to handle that.
But I think the interest, like, what could they announce? And it's June 16th, so it's, you know, roughly half a month after this beta.
You could expect a release date at E3. E3 is release date kind of convention.
That would be the time to do it if you're at E3. That's release date territory. At least release month. Like, ArenaNet, as far as I can tell, isn't a big fan of being like, yep, we're going to be out this day. And then,
until it's closer window. Like,
yeah. But, yeah, it's I can expect, like, we should have it out by this month.
Like, as far as the convention that's going to have more press eyes on you than any other convention, E3 is the one. So that would literally be the best place to announce.
Because one of the things that was data mined, and we're not going to like get too much into it except for this piece, because there was other things data mined, but data mined was pre-purchase, and supposedly you'll get a title and access to all following betas, blah blah blah. Do you think for the launch, didn't they come out with a pre-purchase before they had a specific date? I'm trying to remember.
I know pre-purchase was, I want to say, April of 2012. That's when I want to say they...
Pre-purchases were up for a while, if I remember right.
And I don't think they announced release until June.
And I mean...
oddly enough, kind of mirrors the situation here.
Yeah. Which, I was going to say, this might be where they're announcing the bundles that you can possibly get, if there's going to be a collector's edition, if there's going to be digital, if there's going to be... anything.
By the way, guys, don't wear the pre-purchase title. That's lame. Don't do that.
Coming from the Guam guy. Oh, boy.
Yeah, only Guam. If you don't have Guam, don't even wear a title. Just stop.
I don't know. Like, it depends on what the title is. So, because some people...
I forget what it was.
We're picking names for places in Lions Arch because they're cool. If the title is cool and you like it, use it.
Hey, for my mysterious necro, I picked Dark Wanderer. It picks much better than Guam.
That's a cool title. Dark Wanderer.
Well, the title doesn't say Guam. It says God walking amongst mere mortals.
It says
trumps
Guam.
It trumps any title ever in any video game.
Yeah, you have to pronounce the second M. Guam.
Guamama.
Wham. Moving on. Gem Store and Black Lion Market stuff. They came out with this week Daydreamer's Weapons. And a lot of people have compared them jokingly to like the Elder Scrolls like glass weapons, which I definitely see.
Oh yeah, no, I see that too. I was thinking cheap Christmas decorations from like Walgreens, but
wow.
The glass weapons from Elder Scrolls, they have the same exact color palette.
But just so you know, they are currently one Black Line ticket like every new thing out there, or new weapon set that they put out through that method. And it also, interestingly enough, has a pulsing glow effect with an unsheathing sound. I mean, are you guys easily roped into that, like with a special sound effect?
Like they look cool. Like generally speaking, like with most of my opinions on all the Balthazar, with all the Black Lion ticket stuff. Yeah, with all the Black Lion ticket stuff, it looks cool. I have nobody that this would fit on. and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna redo. I like the way my characters look, and I'm not gonna redo an entire
It's
look
like-
based on a single weapon.
Sorry, ArenaNet, I'm lacking teal characters at the moment.
So
Well,
I will admit,
God.
like, I like some of these. The focus actually looks better than just, hey, let's weld a handle on this, because it actually looks like it fits over your hand, not like it's like above your hand and awkwardly kind of dangling places. So
I really like the bows. The rest of them I didn't really like. The hammer's cool, but I really like the bows. Those are easily the best part of the set.
Yeah, I like it, and I think once again, like saying, I fall into that category where I can't use it on anyone. Now, if they added the option down the road to dye weapons, I'd be picking up everything left and right, because you never know. But unfortunately, that feature never carried away from Guild Wars 1.
Yeah, it's because just the way the weapons are in this game, they're not as savvy to dyeing.
Yeah.
yeah, they wouldn't have like what your basic iron weapons would have what, one, maybe two dye channels.
Yeah.
Like your basic
Well,
weapon
and-
skins with like it's the metal, and then you've got the leather wrap on the handle, and then
Well, and
maybe
dyeing-
sometimes with the sword with the hilt. So
Dyeing was pretty subtle in Guild Wars 1 too with weapons, so
gotta get that black dye for all your armor and weapons, huh?
Could be
unless
a
you have a
shadow.
bone dragon staff, then you get white dye.
I think I still have a couple of those sitting in my bank in Guild Wars 1.
And
Yeah,
I
no
mean,
one buys white dyes.
chat's actually saying like they like the majority of them, which I guess for some people it's not a natural thing. Like I'm sure I've gravitated towards one or two in a set before, but yeah, I generally like them. It's just unfortunately I'm too
Don't have
stuck
anyone
in
it fits
changing
with.
my look. Yeah.
I really like that the short bow isn't like stupidly small to the point of looking like a toy from Target. Like that's most short bows in Guild Wars 2 suffer from that, and this short bow, it's a little like it's clearly a short bow, but it's not so small that it's just like this wouldn't even be remotely useful at all. It's a nice little bow.
Yeah, and one of the other things that actually came out was mail carriers. And interestingly enough, there we go. The Snow Owl, which you see right now, is the
Tedwig.
only one that you can actually buy with gems this time around, which is interesting. 350 gems. There's also the Parrot and the Raven, which they put into the Black Lion chest. So you have I think it's a low chance or fairly rare, uncommon rare.
Basically, they're trying to force mail carriers on me.
I was gonna say
The owl?
I think currently they're going for, I think the Raven 6 gold, and the Parrot is 2 gold. And
That shows what people think of mail carriers.
well, no,
right there.
I think it is. Oh, I think when I looked at this, people were saying they were going for like 80 gold, but sure enough, more
Supply and
people
demand.
got them. Yeah.
Yeah, that show the drastic price drop shows what people think of mail carriers.
Well, look, if you were talking about people disliking mail carriers, they wouldn't be worth a gold.
And
Well, if they're relatively rare from the Black Lion chest, you'd think they'd be worth a little more.
well, Chad is saying 5 to 7 gold as of yesterday. I know it's from today, and you know why?
Because you're in game right now looking.
Because
No.
you just bought one.
No, early before the show, I want to show appreciation where I can to my fellow hosts, and I figured I'd get you a little present, Aaron, that I hope you would use.
I will use it for 6 gold on the trading post.
Oh, you can't sell it. Oh,
I'll put it in the guild bank though, for some lucky
no.
newblet.
I want you to use them. I want you to.
Nope.
have
Honestly, like I wish I
protest.
could gift mail carriers, because then we would have put the funds together to get
Forcibly?
you the owl one.
it automatically
Because I think
unlocks.
you would use the owl one.
I'm
No?
I'm thoroughly against mail carriers.
Not
They're silly.
even for the Harry Potter reference. You wouldn't use the owl.
Nope. I sacrifice all to not use mail carriers.
You hurt my feelings, Aaron. I slaved over a HoT inventory of gold to buy those for you.
A HoT inventory of gold.
Yeah, I don't know.
Please,
Well,
wow. Okay.
let's leave that. Let's leave that where it is and move on.
That's a sentence that happened.
Hey, to be fair, I do have Dabia, so it's fitting. But I mean, it seems like Aaron's dead set against it. But these things that you can acquire in the Black Lion chest, would you be willing to buy them or acquire them and use them? Like, does this interest you in the mail carriers anymore?
I would rather delete my Black Lion key.
Now it's just the principle of the thing, isn't it?
ArenaNet, I need you more than ever. Give him a special buff icon that just says, chests give you a 100% chance at mail carriers. And I just want to see him delete every key.
It is really very much a cosmetic thing. And, I mean, regardless of whether or not Aaron has never seen one, you're still running on a potato, aren't you?
I saw like one mail carrier once.
Okay.
I saw it once. I said
them.
I wasn't interested.
But you don't, like, they're not noticeable enough to be worth it. I'm sorry, they're not.
I was to say,
time.
No.
I would agree these ones aren't, but I understand that with like a quote-unquote free one. Because it very much seems like it's a reskin, but like the ones that I know Robin irritates me with, the Quaggan one.
The Quaggan is very noticeable.
The different ones are a lot better, which I understand since, you know, it's a buy-to-play, or, you know, the buy-to-play model with the gem store. You're going to get more flashier stuff, and like Jim was saying, it's all cosmetic, so no harm, no foul.
Like the first one they released, the Griffin, is huge, comparatively speaking to the other mail carriers.
Never seen it.
Well, to be fair,
you can actually go into your heroes panel and preview them all.
Yeah, you can preview all the mail carriers. But
that doesn't
I
really
honestly
count, though.
No, but I'm saying so you could see them. Jeez.
It's like having your minis suppressed. If your graphical settings are low enough, I mean, you might have one setting turned down that you literally don't see mail carriers.
I can play the game on high and still get 30 FPS.
I feel bad. Now he's starting to get defensive. He's like, I could play the game on high. What are you suggesting?
I play the game on high, okay? I don't see mail carriers.
My toasters can make toasted bagels. That's how good it is. What?
They're not noticeable enough to be worth paying a copper for.
Well, it's more you don't notice them. You don't like them, that's fine. I mean, then this wasn't made for you. The fancy outfits on the trading post, not the outfits, the armor sets, that's what you want because you like playing dress up with your characters. That's not creepy at all.
Oh, dude, my Necro looks so good. Dude. I tweeted her out yesterday because I was just like, this character is a masterpiece.
I'm sorry, I missed it after I didn't look more into your tweets after the gloating about your full Hall of Monuments. So,
50.
Well, we're running out of time. This fight's going to continue after show, so that's why you need to tune in live. That's all I'm saying.
50 Hall of Monuments. Come at me, bro.
But I'd like to thank both my hosts for being here today. And Jim, where can you be found?
I can be found on Twitter at MalthanusMMO, and I will be streaming Tuesday for at least the second two events at twitch.tv/Malthanus.
And Aaron, where can they find you?
I write at Guildmag, so guildmag.com, and there's stuff there that I make with the keyboard. And I'm on Twitter at Guild Wars Monk. And I'm also going to be on the Guild Mag podcast tonight, but that's at like 2 or 3 in the morning for people watching this, so just look for it on the Guild Mag YouTube channel, youtube.com/guildmag. And I'll also be playing the beta thing on Tuesday. So I might show up in one of these guys' streams.
Because of the aforementioned potato, he can't run it from his own.
Well, and I was going to say, just as a quick reminder, we are going to try to do one on the Talking Skritt one, this Twitch channel here, so make sure to head on over to twitch.tv/TalkingSkritt. Follow us there for the beta and possibly for live shows, which are every Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. And you can find us on YouTube if you just search for Talking Skritt. Same for iTunes. So Talking Skritt for YouTube and iTunes. Everyone here can be found at GameBreakerNation.com. We're not just the Guild Wars 2 guild. We have Final Fantasy, XIV. They're coming out with an expansion like literally months. Like I think a month now.
We don't care about them though.
Oh
no!
Ouch.
No, come join the XIV guild. Come join the XIV. I'm sorry, Neobari. I'm sorry. We love you guys.
That was Aaron, just so you can attack him later. Elder Scrolls Online. We also have a Testo Nation podcast, so definitely check that out. World of Warcraft. We have Star Citizen, Minecraft Community, Elite Dangerous. We just keep growing with members like you, so head on over to GameBreakerNation.com, sign on up, and as always, we will see you.
Good night, friends.
Good night, everybody.
Phoenix First.